got into Burgos, I was like so relieved because I got one of the last beds in this really big albergue. And I decided that I wanted to go get flip-flops because my feet were just killing me. And I also decided that I wanted to get a dress. I started walking into the streets of Burgos, and that's when I actually saw Kiatin again. And he came right up to me.
And I immediately ran over to her. Hi Lonnie, hi Lonnie. And Lonnie looked at me and said, hi, what was your name again?
I remembered that I had met him, but I couldn't for the life of me remember his name.
Later on that day, during the evening, we both ended up in this same group of people.
One of the fellow pilgrims that we all kind of knew was playing ukulele, and there's like a group around him that was singing. And so at one point I got up and went over to the group.
And I remember just not being able to take my eyes from her.
I don't remember talking to him that night at all. He might say that we did, which is probably true.
I had a chance to talk to her briefly, and I remember her telling me that she was going to stay the next day in Burgos and keep like a resting day. I just went to bed that night thinking, Kiatin, you're staying again. You're staying tomorrow as well.
I woke up and I decided to take a rest day in Burgos. And I was at the computer. I was writing a blog post about how to go slow and how I was just really trying to take everything in and how things kind of kept finally like feeling like they were coming together. And he kind of like pulled up in back of me.
And I asked her whether she wanted to go have a cup of coffee.
And I kind of looked at him and I was like, yeah, sure.
And she said yes, and I went up to my bed and got my stuff and went down again, and so we sat down at this small Spanish cafe and had a cup of coffee.
I realized very quick that he and I had a lot in common as far as why we were doing the Camino and kind of who we were and just yeah, we just had a lot in common.
The conversation went really well, but I also remember being shit nervous. After a while, we saw this black-haired girl waving goodbye to her group of people. She was crying, obviously sad that they were leaving and that she was left behind.
Liz came hobbling down and she came to the cafe and we said, hey, pull up a chair, you know, and we just had this really great conversation.
She sat down and we talked and we laughed, and so all of a sudden our Camino trio was formed. So Liz, Lonnie and I spent the day in Burgos.
And then we decided to go to the Museum of Evolution. We walked outside and of course there's an electric guitar player playing Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And I'm already kind of like thinking in my head like, oh, I don't want to like really fall in love, but here's this guy who's like totally cute and smart. And so I remember we all kind of like were dancing to this song like on this like patio, and I very actively avoided looking him in the eye the entire time.
To make it short, we went out that evening, and Lonnie and I ended up alone at this bar.
And we found this other bar, and we were sitting and just talking about everything from our past to kind of why we were on the Camino to everything. And at one point he pulled out this cheesy line and he said, you know, I think I might have found what I was looking for. And he looked me right in the eye and I was just like, oh shit.
And we've been together since then.